Georgie's gorgeous gifts, so fine. Every piece unique.
So in today's video we're going to be doing this stunning tray. Eventually I will be using it to make an inlay, but I need to make the blank first. So we're going to do a decorative tray. So I've already poured the black in and let it cure. Now it was just a little bit of black that I had on a spare project, so I wanted that kind of effect where it was very patchy and blotchy. So I've mixed my resin up. The resin I use is Craft Resin's 1:1 ratio. Discount code's in the description. And I'm going to be using this solid colour pigment in light green. It's like a peppermint green. From Team New, I believe these were. And I'm going to be adding some silver foil to it. So I'm just pouring a good amount of this pigment into the resin. Now the reason I'm using the crushed up silver foil is because I want it small pieces. Now if I was going to lay it down onto the silicone mould first, I would use the sheets, because this is no good for anything other than mixing in with the resin if you want that effect. So I didn't mix it in completely. I did leave some clear streaks in it because my resin has been mixed thoroughly. And I'm just pouring a good amount of this silver leaf into the colour and resin. Now because this tray mould looks very similar to like a water effect, I didn't want to do the same thing as everybody else does with it. At the minute I'm just picking out all the big clumps, because that's the problem with this stuff that's already pre-cut. You really have to be careful. I mean, you can see this big chunk here, because that's the last thing I want in my work is massive chunks of this silver leaf. So I'm just pouring it into the mould, right to the top over the black. Now this is opaque enough to cover the black, but the silver leaf will be in contrast with the green when it's cured. Now this mould takes about a total of 250 mils, which is about 8 ounces for those of you who use ounces. I mean, it still baffles me why they don't take the time to put the amounts on the moulds. It would make life so much easier. I know some companies are starting to put their amounts on the mould. I think Into Resin and Let's Resin have started to do it, which is great. More companies need to take the initiative and do exactly the same, because it makes life so much easier. So I'm just making sure that all the massive lumps are out and that it's all level. So I left it to cure overnight, and this is it ready for demould. This is the following day, and you can see the silver leaf on the back, but it doesn't show so much up on the front. So demoulding this, I absolutely love the look, the feel, the texture, everything of this tray. But you can see that if you wanted to use the front of this tray, you would have to put a layer of resin over the top to make it flat. But yeah, I love the way that the green pops through the black. Next time I'd probably use a little less black, but my plan is to use this for a silicone inlay. So as this was quite a short video, I decided to do the inlay and pop it on for you to see. So now it's time to do the inlay, and I've been working with this DICTION brush on silicone rubber, and when it says it saves 3 times the silicone, it really does save 3 times the silicone. Let me show you an example. So this one here was this piece, and I used the DICTION brush on for this, used 2 coats. If I'd have had to do it in the liquid silicone rubber, I would have had to make a square effectively. So all this would have had to have been filled with silicone. So I've saved on all that, and it's made an absolutely perfect replica. So this is what it's made. There is a video on this coming very soon. I'm going to mix up my silicone to make the inlay for this. So it is a 1:1 ratio. I haven't got a lot left. It is incredibly thick, so I am probably going to have to leave these bottles upside down just for a second. Now I'm speeding this up for you, and this was a lot longer, but I did edit it down to just this bit because it took a minute to get this out of the bottle. So I've mixed this up, and as you can see, it is incredibly thick. So you need to make sure that you get all around the edges. It's not great for not having bubbles in, but that doesn't really make an awful lot of difference because the bubbles are within it rather than on top of it. Because it's so thick, it you can see it doesn't really degas. Right, so I'm just going to pour this onto here. Now I want to make a big inlay, but I don't want it to be very thick. And the good thing about this is if I was to use liquid silicone on this, it would literally just run off the edge, whereas this doesn't. You can see it's really sort of pliable, and you can just get it on there. And then we'll lever it out. I don't think this is self-leveling. So I did check up on this, and this is not self-leveling, but it's easy enough to level off yourself. So I am just tipping the rest of this silicone on, and as I'm doing it, I'm brushing it on with my stick and trying to flatten it over. I'm trying not to get any holes in it, so it needs to be the same level all the way across. I don't want it very thick. So yeah, and at this point it is starting to cure a little bit, and that's how fast it cures. So I decided to time it to see how long this takes to cure exactly. So the time is now 3:17, so I'll time it and let you know how long it takes. It is now 3:30, and I've had a look to see if it's ready to pull off, and it is. So it is, I mean, you can't use it yet, and I wouldn't recommend using it for at least 24 hours. But look at that. So this was after only 13 minutes. I mean, come on guys, 13 minutes. I was able to create this mould in under an hour. But can you see what I mean by the bubbles? But that's not going to make a difference to your piece. But look at that for an inlay. Absolutely stunning. So you can use that in coasters, in, well, whatever, pretty much anything, because the size, and really cheap to make. I mean, that literally used a tiny bit. So you can cut that up into different shapes. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it. Definitely. And I'm not affiliated with DICTION in any way, but I use their UV resin, and I used, well, I'm now going to use the brush on silicone. There is a discount code in the description below. Yeah, so if you want to get yours, get yourself a little bit of money off. Don't get me wrong, I still will use the liquid silicone, but there are different things that require different types of silicone. But this is going to be my go-to. I am so pleased with that. You can see it's perfect. It's picked up everything. So I've been looking at my analytics, and it looks like there's nearly 70% of you that don't subscribe. So the subscribe button is just down below. It doesn't cost you anything, so if you could hit that for me, I would really appreciate it, as it helps to push my channel out and just lets other people see my content. So I was undecided with this whether I was going to put a top coat on it and make it into a tray, but instead I decided to use it as a background for some of my photo displays, or as a piece to put my items on to take photos of them. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this. So if you've enjoyed this video, please drop me a thumbs up. So I'll leave you with some glamour shots of both pieces. If you like this video, then try the one that's linked now. I've been Tony from Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye for now.
Silicone whispers, resin sings, shaping the world with delicate things. Every piece a story shifts from Georgie's gorgeous gifts. A patient hand, a steady